Hello and welcome to the Library Research Skills session on search strategies for English language and linguistics students. I wanted to start off by saying that if you need help at any time, please feel free to get in touch with me as your subject liaison librarian. My contact details are available here, and I also offer a remote support session every Wednesday between 11 to 12, so you can just click on the meeting link and come and ask a question or ask any help. Also, obviously, feel free to get in contact with me outside of that time if that doesn't suit you.
In this session, we will look at getting started on developing a search strategy. This will include what is a search strategy, searching by keyword and citation, where to search for information, and finally managing your results. So what is a search strategy? Well, it's a way of searching for information in an organised and systematic way, and a process that will improve the quality of your results and hopefully save you time. It begins with thinking about your assignment or research question and identifying the search topics within it. You can then build a plan of the key concepts or words associated with this topic that you can then search for, as well as considering where you might find the best information. But how do you create a search strategy? Well, there are a number of simple steps to developing one, and we'll look at these now. Let's begin by identifying what our keywords are. You break down your question into key concepts that you need to consider in your research. So here is an example question we might like to answer. Is online training effective in developing a culture of information literacy amongst undergraduates? The key concepts here are online training, information literacy, and undergraduates. The next step is to span this list of keywords. You might consider alternative spellings of those keywords. Think about, are there acronyms for any of the phrases or concepts? And also brainstorm for alternative words that mean the same thing, as well as broader and narrower concepts. So for our example, we can think of different terms for each of the key concepts quite easily. So for undergraduates, we might think of the shortened version UG, or broader terms like students or higher education. For online courses, we might consider also online training, MOOCs, or blended learning. And for information literacy, we might also want to search for digital literacy or library or research skills. If the concept is more technical or difficult, you might also use reference works such as specialist dictionaries or encyclopedia. The important thing here is to keep a list of the keywords as you come up with them. Once you have your list of keywords, you then want to think about combining these to search effectively. We call this Boolean operators, or and, or not. And will narrow your search because it must include both terms. So for example, if you were searching for dress and ribbons, you would only be looking for those results which included both of those words. Or broadens your search as it must include either term. So in the example of hat and crown, we can have results that include either of these terms. And not narrows your search by excluding specific terms. So if we were looking for trousers, but we didn't want to include shorts, we would just have trousers that weren't shorts included in the results. There are other tools available to help you refine your search and make your results much more specific and relevant. So firstly, there are speech marks. So if you want to group keywords together as a phrase, so in our question, we might want to do this for information literacy. and you put speech marks around the phrase, and then that will search for those appearing together in the database that you're searching rather than looking for the keywords separately. You can also use truncation. So this is when you put a symbol at the end of a word, and it will allow you to search for multiple endings of that word. So in this example, we have research, and that would also pick up researcher, researchers, and researching. Similarly, there are wildcards, and this is where you substitute a symbol for just one letter in a word, and this is useful if you have different spellings. So in this example, we have organisation, and we replace the S with an asterisk, and that allows you to pick up the American version spelt with a Z. Now that we have these tools, let's have a look at the example of our question and actually conducting a search in a database. I'm going to put together and combine my keywords to create a search in this database called Scopus. So I'll start off by going to the search box, and I'm going to take my first keyword, which is information literacy. But as it's two words I want together, I'll put them as a phrase in speech marks. And I also want to combine this with my other concept, so I'm going to type and in capital letters, and then I'm going to type in MOOCs, which was another one of my key concepts, and I'm going to add and then I will put in undergraduates, or because I want to include also students. So this search will be looking for the appearance of the phrase information literacy with MOOCs and either undergraduates or students in an article. And I'll just click search. And you can see here it's got the search there, and it has 7 document results. I can see the documents listed here and have a look and see if any of these are relevant to my research question. So if I want to have a look at any of the results here, you can see they're numbered, and you get the title of the article, and here's the author, the year of publication, and the source. I'm going to click on this one just to get a better look. And you can see that in this database, it's highlighting where my keywords have appeared, both in the title and then in the abstract. And you can see also it's been tagged according to these keywords as well. It's quite usual to have to refine your search strategy in order to improve the results that you have from searching in a database. There are a number of ways in which you can do this. Most databases come with filters to allow you to narrow your results by things like date, region, subject area, or information type. You might also consider using broader search terms to widen your results. So for example, in our search, you may use students instead of undergraduates. You can also look at the advanced search function in a database to help you broaden or narrow the search by selecting different fields to search on. Let's demonstrate this in Scopus. Here is our original search. In Scopus, you can click on Edit and then change the actual search string that you've put in. So, as well as MOOCs, I'm going to add an alternative keyword. So I'll put in or after MOOCs and add the phrase in speech marks of online courses. I'll then click on search. This new search has actually brought back 90 results, so a lot more than the first one. They're displayed in the same way, listed underneath with the title of each, and you can see that we have some new articles included in this search. So again, I can click on any of these just to find out a bit more about the title. I can see the keywords and phrases that have been highlighted in the title and abstract. I can also read the abstract to see if it's relevant to my research. Let's go back to the results now. If I felt 90 results was too many to look through, I can then apply the filters. So on Scopus on the left hand side there's a menu which will allow you to limit to or exclude different items. So for example, I could decide that I only want to look at those articles that are written from a social sciences perspective. So I can click the box next to social sciences, and in brackets next to it, it says there's now 82 documents that are relevant to social sciences, so I can exclude. There's an option as well by year, so I could decide that I'm only interested in articles that have been published in the last 5 years. And in this database, I just select those years. And then I'm going to scroll down and also look at document type. So under document type, it's listing different types of resources. I have a book, an ebook, a book chapters, journal articles, conference papers, or reviews. So for this research question, I just want journal articles, and I can click on the box article. Now, if I select limit to, it's going to return results that only include all of those that I've selected, or I can click exclude if I want those out of my search results. But I'm going to click limit to. And that's now narrowed it down to 25 different documents or articles for me to look at. And you can also see at the top, it's keeping a record of what I'm doing with my search. So I can see that I've got my original search string plus all the limiters that I've put in as well. Another way of conducting a search is citation searching. This is useful for finding journal articles, as you are looking what was referenced in a given journal article and who has used that article since it was published, assuming that they will be closely matched topics. In this way, you're effectively creating a web of references from a single journal article. And this can be really useful if you haven't found many references so far. It also allows you to follow a discussion and argument and see how it has developed both over time and with different contributors. It's also useful in uncovering relevant articles that use keywords that you had not searched for, and this can also feed into your keyword searching later on. So let's have a look at our results and see how citation searching can be applied. So I'm back in my results from my final search. And so we're going to choose an article to try a citation search from. So I'll scroll down my list. I'm going to have a look at one of the later published journals. And this one here is called Bridging the Gap, Information Literacy and Learning in Online Undergraduate Courses. So I can see here that it has quite a few occurrences of my keywords in both the title and the abstract, and also the keywords which it is tagged on. So if I want to find related citations in Scopus, I can do this in a few ways. So firstly, I can scroll down and it will list all the references for this article. And where available, it will also provide a link. So I can see a list of the references here. And here it also tells me next to it how many times that article has been cited elsewhere. So you can start to build up whether this is an important, or these are important references within this topic area. And then you can also click on any of these to link to that article. The second way is looking at where this article has been cited elsewhere. So in Scopus, that's on the right, and there is a section that says cited by, and it tells you the number of documents. So this journal article, which was published in April 2019, has already been cited 3 times, which is quite good. So you can see the references for each of those, and you can click to go into any of those and save them. And then it also has a third option, which is related documents. And this is a little bit like Amazon having a recommended reading based on what you've looked for before. So these are just closely matched documents. Some of these might have already come up in your search, but it's worth looking at these as well. And you can see here that if you look at the author keywords, that there is actually some alternatives that we didn't include in our original keyword search. So here we've got a phrase of online undergraduate courses. So we might want to try searching for that as well in this database. So a key part of your search strategy is deciding where you're going to search, where you're going to conduct your searching. So we've used Scopus as an example, which is a database which indexes journal articles. You might want to use this, but there are other starting points for you to look at. So the first is Library Search, which is our library catalogue. So that includes books and ebooks, but also many journal articles and much more. So to access this, you go to librarysearch.kent.ac.uk and you can apply your search there. But it's also worth looking at your subject library resource guide. Now, these are pages that are curated by your subject librarian, and they have selected databases and other resources that are specifically useful to the discipline that you're studying. So if you want to broaden your search outside of our library catalogue, they're a really good place to start. You'll find descriptions of each different resource, what they include, and the types of resources that you can have a look through before you search with those. You'll find these on our web pages, which is at www.kent.ac.uk/library. And the last one is resources by format. And if you need to find specific types of material, for instance, you might want to look at newspapers, or you might need statistics, legal documents, or official publications, for example, then you can browse by format. And these are also available on our website. It's really important to manage your results during your search, as you'll see that the process of planning and carrying out a search is quite involved and drawn out. And if you're searching many different places, it's very easy for you to get kind of overwhelmed with your results. So we recommend that you keep a record of where you've searched and also what your search terms were in those databases. If there are references within any of those results that you get that you want to keep, then remember to save and export either the references or the full text files themselves of the articles. And just a word about full text availability. Always check if there's something that you really want, that we do actually have it available at the University of Kent. Some of the databases that you'll search are huge indexes, and we don't actually subscribe to every single journal that they include. If this is something, though, that you really need for your research, you can put a request in via Library Search, and that's called document delivery. And you can just provide the results, and we will see if we can get either a scanned copy, photocopy delivered to you. In terms of managing your results, reference management tools can be really helpful in doing this, and they have added benefit in that you can also use them to help you create your bibliography at the end of a piece of research or assignment. So there is an accompanying video called Managing References that you can follow on from this if you want to know more about that, or we have help and guidance about that on our library website.
So as a recap, I just wanted to mention that we have a Library Skills Moodle module, DP2 3000, that all students should automatically be enrolled on, so you should see a link in your Moodle site. On here you'll find tutorials on evaluating information, different search skills, managing references and much more. So much of the content that's been covered as part of this session will be there, and there'll be lots of interactive tutorials and different quizzes that you can take to test your knowledge. So feel free to go back there and revisit that at any time. As I mentioned at the beginning of the session as well, please don't hesitate to get in touch if you are struggling in terms of either getting hold of resources or carrying out searches or just kind of general library guidance. I'll be more than happy to help you.